So coming up to the stage now is our final presenter for session 5 of our live stream. And I'm proud to bring up Dustin. So Dustin, he is here. He is ready to go. Oh, he's fighting the yeah, there it is. I'll say he's got the medicine beside. How's it going?
Oh man, nothing like this summer flu crap that likes to kick in. That our last day with students was like a week and a half ago, and I've been at home with my kids, and we thought it was just like seasonal allergies. But for those of y'all who have been to the great state of Kansas, our weather is very schizophrenic, which means if you've got like seasonal allergies plus pressure based allergies, you're going to have fun. So my immune system, we're preying on some stage health today. And I was fiddling with the bottle at the end of Sandy's presentation, and this expired apparently at the beginning of the year. So maybe this will be like that scene from Wolf of Wall Street where they take Quaaludes and they set in like an hour late. That might be what happens to me, that I'll become very clear at the end.
I think you'll be just fine and ready to rock the session based on that.
I'll take it.
All right. If you want to share your screen, I will pull it up. And you are going to be sharing with us the Student Choice Workshop, how to create engaging choice boards on Wakelet.
Yep.
So there's your screen. Everybody can see and hear you. So I'm going to drop off and the stage is yours, Dustin.
Perfect. All right. So some of the things that I was hoping to share, the links, I was like, I'll go back in my Wakelet collections and get them. And for those of you who haven't seen me talking about it online, I'm on the verge of switching districts. So I'm in that lovely phase of transitioning everything from my school Google Drive to my personal Google Drive. And I can't remember where I've saved things, that it's as messy and as cluttered as everything in my life is. So I'll show you the resources that I've got, and then I'll fix the links on everything here in a bit. But I'm going to kind of walk through why I've fully, gone whole ham on embracing choice boards throughout all of the different types of courses that I teach. And now that I am moving to not just a brand new setting, but a brand new curriculum for me, how I'm going to rebuild all of this stuff in Wakelet. So if you aren't that familiar with me, I've been teaching since 2007 at Topeka High School in Kansas. And if you Google it, it looks oddly like Hogwarts. It was the first $1 million high school west of the Mississippi. And it's been a cool experience. I've taught virtually every social studies class that doesn't rhyme with the word psychology. And then I've also taught and coached our speech and debate program. And I've decided, since, variety is the spice of life and change is inevitable, that there was an opening in the district where I live, where my kiddos go to school, at a middle school that's getting rebranded as a STEAM middle school. So very rarely do you get to hear a social studies educator who's embracing STEM and STEAM principles that more often than not, us in the liberal arts side or rhetorical art sides of things are like, it's going to kill our discipline. And I get to embrace that in a reopening school here in the fall. What kind of has changed my teaching philosophy from, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed first-year teacher in 2007 to where I'm at now is having 3 kiddos. And if you look, I knew, since Farmer Fobs would be in the audience, that I had to have some kind of animal-oriented theme. So this is a picture of my 3 kiddos when we went to a local farm where they had some baby goats. So my oldest 2 in the bottom left-hand corner are Toby and Ainsley. They just finished the 2nd and 1st grade respectively. And then the little guy picking up a goat that is his size is Charlie, and he is starting kindergarten in the fall. And I've gotten to watch the things that they like to do to learn, that not just the stuff that they are bringing home from school, but, some of the things that we're doing at home to prevent the summer slide. And, they are getting me addicted to apps like Prodigy or Starfall, learning how to do math again, or learning how to not butcher the English language as a speech teacher who believes grammar should indicate how we speak, not to do grammatically proper things. And I'm trying to think of how violently school kind of changes from the world where you get to play, a bunch of different interactive games to, the middle and high school experience where we remove some of that play, we remove some of that creativity, we remove some of that game-based stuff from it. So just seeing what has kept my kids excited to learn, or make my youngest want to sit down and learn a first grade math curriculum because he wants to play a game just like his sister, makes me go, here's how we can kind of play with some of these things and build them into the way we teach. If you want a shameless plug of how you can connect with me or interact with me, you see all of my information there. It's Rimmey AP Gov on both Twitter and on Wakelet on Instagram, TikTok, and my website. I use the phrase Teachers Playground. And I've got a podcast where I talk about play and education. So if you are interested in those things, they're here. It's also linked to my Wakelet profile. Now, you may notice that I'm not talking about some of these blue quotations that I've thrown in from time to time. The idea of classroom management has radically shifted in the past 10, 15 years, right? Where it went from, we want everybody to have eyes forward, head down, they are focusing on the work, that a quiet classroom clearly is a productive classroom, to now we want students engaged in the learning. We want active learning opportunities. I'll help you with that when I'm done speaking. Okay, bud? You want to say hi to people? No. My youngest is down here and wants me to help him get on Netflix, and I can't do that right now. But my goal is to create noisy classrooms, right? That I want conversations. I want people moving around. I want people, displaying or acting out, engaging in their learning. And that's why I've gone with this fun, concert themed Canva that I stared at for 40 minutes. And you'll notice that everything has a pop punk lyric on it, or some kind of screamo or post-hardcore, because that's my jam. And if you're interested in listening to all of this good, terrible music, there's a Spotify playlist linked in the collection that is shared. I will help you with that in a little bit. Okay, Charlie?
I just want to watch.
Will you see if Toby can help you?
No.
Okay, can you wait until I'm all done? I need you to wait until I'm done, okay?
It's just...
So, by the end of this, I'm going to talk about how I look at choice boards. I will probably breeze through some of the presentation stuff and then show you why I like doing it in Wakelet, where I don't, lose to the choice paralysis of having to choose from 1,000 different templates to play with things. So according to Bushel, in an article from the English Teaching Forum last year, she says that choice boards are useful because they let students determine what they want to focus on. It helps them become independent managers of time, figuring out what they can do in an allotted period of time. It makes them become decision makers. None of us are probably more frustrated when we ask somebody what they want to do or what they like, and they're like, or the good old IDK. And it gives students a lot more time to be creative. So when we look at choice boards, the way that I use them can be both as a formative or a summative assessment. That I have literally built a unit that is an entire choice board that then works students up to a summative assessment that is a choice board. Because, we talk about differentiating, we talk about adapting to multiple learning styles. And I think the earlier, the younger, the more frequently we allow students to choose how they want to display their knowledge, the more successful that they're going to be. So here we've got a lovely quote from New Jersey's own Armor for Sleep, where, it's the Dream to Make Believe, I think is the song, where we have a lot of students throughout their educational careers feel like they lose that spark. They feel like they can't see themselves in a curriculum. They feel like they don't understand how to work through an assignment. And really, what I think choice boards are, in terms of giving students the opportunity to showcase a broad variety of different methods of showcasing their learning, it makes them feel more empowered, right? That it allows them to buy into the journey a bit more, to feel more engaged, to buy into the content and things like that. So instead of talking about just research, here are some elements from choice boards that I think are important from a couple of different songs, and then we'll hop into my easy way to build a choice board in Wakelet. So number one is from Hawthorne Heights' Ohio is for Lovers, that I know it's hard to feel like I don't care at all. Students two ways can get the perception either that we think they don't care about their learning or they don't care to engage, or at times we think that, or they think that we don't care, we're not interested in them. Okay, you need to go do that out in the big room, bud. Okay? There. So choice boards allow you to kind of lean into the connection and the relationships that you build with students, right? The more that you are talking about them, the more that you are seeing their work, the more that you are working with them, the more you can create assignments or opportunities to showcase learning that are tailored to them. This also, over time, we'll look at quote number 4 from the starting line. We want to see the best from students. And I think engaging in using choice boards throughout a unit, throughout a semester, throughout an entire course allows us to really track the growth and development of the kinds of work that students are doing. And when I show the different kinds of assignments that I've put into choice boards in the past, as we kind of build one on Wakelet, we really start to get to see the best product from students. And one of the things that I'll mention on a later slide is, much like Ryan, I have hardcore drank the Kool-Aid of student portfolios. Yes, when I'm done, okay? No, you gotta wait till I'm done. So using choice boards create more products for students that they can then use in a portfolio to show how they've grown or developed or what they've done over time. The other one that I really like, and kind of the last musical quote that I'll talk about, comes from Burt McCracken and the Used. I found a box full of sharp objects. What a beautiful thing. Choice boards can be a double-edged sword. Choice boards can be empowering to children because they can find a broad variety of different things that they can relate to engage in displaying or showcasing their learning. It can also be a scary box full of sharp objects because maybe there are too many things that they look at, right? That maybe there are too many choices, too many things that create a trap for them, and there is some degree of choice paralysis. And we'll talk about how to kind of solve the Goldilocks problem of how many assignments versus how many options do you share, how many do they have to complete to solve the scary part of that. The last thing that I'll kind of talk about, and I took this from, I think, the Follett community website when they put together like a here's what you should ask when you're building a choice board during virtual learning. You'll notice that there is many topics in here in terms of thinking about preparation and thinking about tech versus hands-on manipulatives versus, hands-on things versus how many tasks should a student have to engage in. If a kid does not finish what they are doing in the classroom, or if a student cannot finish in time, or they're sick and need to do some of this outside, what are some things that they can do where they're not pushed away from an option because they don't have the ability to use something. So there are 4 quick reasons why I am going to start using Wakelet more for choice boards instead of some of the other elements that you'll see that I've leaned into in the collection. First, it's going to give you an easy place to kind of store all of your standard templates, all of your rubrics, things like that, right? Like I said, my plan in putting my collection together as we built this was to click on, here are the things that I've strewn across a variety of different folders in my Google Drive. And now I'm dealing with that problem across 2 different accounts. So we can have one place that's an easy activity library for us as the educator to then be able to go, I need to grab these things here and boom, apply them to another collection. And that's going to be super easy, especially now that the extension is coming back. That was, I think, one of the things that I was the most hyped about during the announcement video earlier this week. Second, you waste less time worrying about your aesthetics. I'll tell you that I have spent an embarrassing amount of time trying to worry about the right font, the right layout in a Canva presentation, the right way to make things interactive and genially, right, to make it aesthetically pleasing. In Wakelet, I got to worry about making a background that looks nice, picking a header, and then making sure that my links all show up. So it gets rid of the things that we might waste an excessive amount of time on in terms of designing things. Third, the more we get kids on Wakelet is a good thing, because if you are using Wakelet either through individual student accounts to build a portfolio, or you've got the school or the district plan, then it is an easy reminder for them to go, hey, I just finished creating this thing. Let me go throw the end product up on my portfolio. And then I'll be a bit biased that Wakelet is just awesome in terms of curating, sharing, and storing things. So what I want to kind of show very quickly is the process I go through to build a choice board. And this is the collection that you'll see shared out that has my contact information, my thoughts, the Spotify playlist, and the presentation here, some articles that I've looked at, a variety of different templates or rubrics that I've played with and remixed. And then, like I said, once I fix some of the links on my existing collections, that my sample place will become a lot more functional. So very quickly, I'm going to create a new collection. And then I will add this to the existing presentation collection. So I've got this open. The other thing that I've got is my Toby open that has the links to things that I want to throw in, because I don't have these in a Wakelet yet. Hold on, bud. I'm almost done. He's being so patient. So let's say that in my choice board, I know that I want to go the columns route because I want to dictate my number and the types of options that my students get this way. So we'll go choose one, or no. And you'll see that I can't spell on an ongoing basis. So we've got everybody complete. So let's say that I'm starting a unit where I've got a list of vocab that I want everybody to work from. So I've got my good old-fashioned EduProtocols Frayer template. I'm going to share the link. Right, so I would take whatever unit I'm working in. I will grab my vocab list and say, everybody pick a word, fill out the 4 elements of the Frayer template. That way I've got a quick check for understanding if they are completing multiple elements of this choice board across a singular term or concept, right? So I can check for understanding on step number 1 in terms of the template. So let's go now. Pick one of these two. We'll hop back over into my list of links. And let's say that I will give them either the option to do a sketch and tell or a 6-word story. That I love making kids do 6-word stories. I think it's a brilliant way to have them summarize something weird or something profound in 6 short words. So if they then take their term and draw a picture and then explain how that picture showcases the content, then I'll put that in there. And as sometimes my Adobe Express stuff doesn't go in, so I can easily go sketch. And then we'll pick a GIF. And the one thing that I'll note about these is you'll notice that with some of these things, I don't have like some instructions or stuff built into these templates. And part of that is either because I had to include the instructions in something separate through both Google Classroom and our school's LMS, or because they're in a document that has died and I have to find where it's now saved in my personal Google Drive. But I would embed those things here. So I would call this 6-word story.
Dusty, while you're finishing that up, I just want to get closer to our cutoff time here. Is there what's your biggest tip or suggestion for people creating these choice boards? I know you mentioned earlier it's like that double-edged sword, but what's the creative impetus behind some of these?
So I think in the same way that we kind of talk about how we want students to be able to start small and be able to try or fail, it's the same thing with choice boards. So if you look at the templates here on mine, I linked in the very first choice board that I ever created. And I think what I did was here are things that I want kids to know about the Constitution. So it was me trying to cram like 5 or 6 different assignments onto a choice board, right? The absolute wrong way to do it. And I did this and went, oh, this is just having kids do the same stuff in a different way. It's not truly giving them some choice like that. So what I've kind of done over time in sharing these things is making sure that, so here's one that I've created in, that's going to take me to the Genially website. So here's one that I created, right, that, again, I'm embarrassed by how much time it took me to put the aesthetics into this, which is why I don't want to do it anymore. So I came up with 9 different options, and I think I'm comfortable with that number because this was for AP level seniors in my government class. And I gave them a variety of different modalities to kind of reach out to. So Quizify It was to make a quiz about the Constitution or a Google form. Modernize It was to write it into a tweet instead of, the 7-8 pages if we had massive Constitution level things. I have a lot of my debate seniors in the class, so they could stage a debate and film it through, we have to pour one out for our dead homies at Microsoft Flip, right? But they could film a debate in Flipgrid. So I think you want to look at the types of activities that you are going to do on a consistent basis, some things that are easy, repeatable things that your students will kind of reach into, so you can teach them routines. So like if I'm thinking about the first choice board that I'm going to do with my middle schoolers, it's probably just going to be a 4 square grid where they're going to pick one or two different things. If I'm wanting kids to not necessarily stay in their same comfort zone the whole time, right? I want to shift my kids who are going to be I want to write a paper and not have to engage the creative side of my brain. There will be some assignments where I'm like, nope, you can't write. You've got to engage in some kind of conceptual content. For my artsy fartsy kids who always make fun of how aesthetically unpleasant most of the things I like to do are, right? Then I'll go, here's where you've got to do your hands-on charts and graphs, mathy things. So what I'm going to try and build back into this collection once I've fixed all of my Google links will kind of be that how to scale things. The other thing that I'll point out is this blog post at the top of the second column from Dr. Caitlin Tucker, where she compares either a playlist method of learning where you can give a sequence but give some options throughout versus a choice board. So I think she kind of makes an argument as to why both of them could be beneficial for data type purposes. But I would say start small. Once I start thinking about geography in July, I'll start building my, unit, our SEL kind of 4 square of we're going to do choice learning, not about content, but to do some team building during that fake Thursday and Friday before we get a full week of school, to get them in that process so I can see what kinds of things kids are picking. If there's an unattractive option on there, have I successfully gotten them to eat their vegetables or take their medicine of what is not the fun or creative thing? And then how can I mix those options up throughout? So I've been playing with it a lot more. And I just like how once I've got everything in a Wakelet collection, I can just drop it in, and it's done in less than 5 minutes, and I can spend more time tweaking it to individual kids or groups of kids instead of designing everything from square one.
Makes perfect sense. Thank you very much. That was a fantastic session. You couldn't even tell that you were sick, so you know what, your son's been very patient back there. I understand. I can hear my son upstairs as well.